It's so funny. I even went to go get my nails done, and I was like, I don't like this color, and I flipped out over something so small.
Right.
And I'm like, that's not like me, but it's because I was always on edge.
Yeah. So you're... This is Inside Out with James Catledge. Today's going to be very, very exciting. We've got round 2 with Angie Catalano. And this is going to be a little different than round 1. We're going to talk very openly. We're going to talk openly about narcissism. And the reason we're going to talk openly about this is for you. There are many people today trapped in relationships with a narcissist. And many of you listening today may be narcissists. And we want to talk to you and perhaps those that you're victimizing. Angie, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm glad you're here. We've had a lot of conversations between our last visit and today.
Yes.
What's on your mind today as we meet?
Well, really, I just want to set the intention for this podcast to meet whoever needs it the most, because everyone has some type of narcissistic tendency to a certain degree, right?
Yeah.
But if you are dealing with a full-blown narcissist in your life, it is detrimental to your being, to your life, because it could cost you a lot. So I'm going through personally a lot of things with my own family because my mom has those tendencies, and even my brother is suffering the consequences of even having any contact with her in his life.
Right.
So this is like the message that I want to put out there, because for me, seeing my brother suffer, it hurts me and it kills me inside. So I'm like, no. When it comes to these men or family members, you need to have the tools to be able to navigate your life in a better way.
Right.
So,
Great.
yes.
Great. Thanks for establishing that for
Yes.
today. This is a hard discussion because it's real. This is your life. And my role here today is just to try to be probative and just ask questions to try to pull from you lessons that we can all learn.
Yes.
Tell me why it is you think, up until recently, you've always been attracted and drawn to narcissists. I think a lot of people have that. Why do you think you have been that way?
Because I have certain triggers within myself, or certain woundings, things that I have suppressed maybe from my childhood, and they come up later and they show up in our most intimate relationships. So if you don't do the work on your subconscious mind and all the things that you suppress, they also call it your shadow side, it will come up in your most intimate relationships. So for me, my mom, she has a lot of those traits. So it was natural for me. It felt familiar to me to be with somebody like that.
Take me into when you first realized your mom may have some of those tendencies. When did you first realize that?
Probably as a little girl.
As a little girl.
As a little girl, I knew something was off. But, with family, you learn to forgive. And, But this is why when somebody does, things that are so unbearable, and then you go back and you forgive because they're your mom or they're your only mode of survival.
Right.
It makes sense as to why a woman would go back to, or somebody in a narcissistic relationship would go back to that person.
Yeah.
Most likely the person who taught them those patterns were their parents.
Right.
And this is the other thing, too, that I want to mention is that when you are breaking these patterns, let's say you're doing the healing work or whatever, you have to remember that if you are in this relationship for a long time, you're breaking these patterns. So you have to have a lot of grace for yourself and understand, okay, I'm breaking these patterns. Now I have this awareness. Now I can move forward and knowing how, having grace when you're like, why are things not working out? It might be because of the patterns that you've created over time.
Right. So did you leave your childhood home and your first boyfriend relationship was also a narcissist?
No.
It wasn't?
No.
Tell us about that, because that's unique.
Well, with my first boyfriend, I was a little girl, and I remember, like the last episode, I was saying that I was doing drugs at a very young age.
Yeah.
So he was the only one who wasn't doing drugs around me. But we were two little kids, and we didn't even know what the heck we were doing.
When you say little kids, 15?
14.
14,
Yeah,
okay.
14, 15, yeah. So we didn't know what we were doing
right.
at all.
But he wasn't. You know now, looking back, he was not a narcissist.
I think he was just a kid.
Just a kid.
Our brains don't stop developing until our brains finish developing when we're around 25 years old. So at that age, our brains are still developing. We're still learning.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to be able to dictate like, oh, he's a narcissist. But
right.
people
sure.
do have those tendencies but it's because they're trying to get a need met. And if they've never known or have been shown what healthy love looks like, they're only going to live out what they've observed.
Yeah.
And this is why I love theta healing so much, because I haven't seen what I think true love should be like. I haven't
Right.
witnessed that because
Right.
I wasn't an energetic match to that. So when I connect up to the energy of creation or God, I ask for God to show me in my own way. And you
Yeah.
do that through, being mindful and meditating.
Right. Do you think you've witnessed what true love is but not experienced it? Do you think you've seen it in other people?
I think that when you see it in other people and you haven't really understood it,
Yeah.
or grasped it, you think of it like, oh, it's a fairy tale. Oh,
Right.
it's for show, or
Maybe
it's just,
fake.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. I totally get that. All right, so tell me who Wes Watson is.
Wes Watson is my ex-boyfriend.
All right.
He's a mindset, fitness, and business coach, online coach.
Very successful.
Very successful, yes.
Yeah, if you're measuring success by financial means, he's top shelf.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we got lots of feedback, lots of comments from some of his, what would you say, students?
Yeah, his clients.
His clients, yeah. He's got obviously got a track record of people feeling really benefited from his coaching.
Which is amazing and great, because listen, if you had a beautiful life experience and you got a lot and he changed your life,
Right.
congratulations. That's beautiful.
Yes.
But
That was not your experience.
no. So, and you know what? This is what I don't like when people want to attack when they don't know.
Yeah.
You are invalidating somebody's experience and you just sit down.
Right.
Like,
right.
mind
Well
your
said.
business right now.
Yes.
Because you did not have that experience. So for you to judge and stand up for someone when you have no idea what happened, like, take a
Right.
look at yourself right now. It's okay that this person had a great effect on your life.
Right.
Amazing.
Right.
But don't invalidate my experience at all in any way. And this isn't to bash him. This
No.
is, he really has certain things that he really does need to work on. And I think that also he's so controversial, and sometimes he does things that, like, you can't look away because it's like, what the heck are you doing? Or why would you even say that? Even from the new girlfriend, he's calling her a hooker. I got my hooker back, and I'm like, you just have no respect for women in any which way. And I think it's just that he wants to go along with all what the haters are saying.
Yeah.
But it's like, at what point are you going to really, I don't know. I just didn't agree with that at all. But
And you've got some real experience living with inside that relationship, living in his home, being with him, having your children there. I mean, some of these experiences are riveting for you. And you left that relationship because it was no longer healthy. You want to talk about that?
right, it was no longer healthy. And then after the fact, I'm looking back and I'm like, whew, thank God.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah. What about it wasn't healthy? I mean, let's break this down. You're talking about a success coach.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about a guy who makes millions of dollars being a success coach. You would think, because obviously students, clients, they're benefiting from his coaching, from their perspective, that they're benefiting. Is that a different person? Is it a different, why is all that positivity that these people are experiencing not able to be in the home where you are? What do you see there?
Like I said earlier, is he has a lot of things that are suppressed, and they're coming up in his most intimate relationships. If you talk to him, he's going to be like, she was this, she didn't do enough for me, she didn't do this, she didn't do that, because of his own woundings. You know, and
Right.
it's no harm, no foul. It's just this person is he's going to have issues in his relationships
Yeah.
until he does the inner work. And it doesn't matter how successful you are, what you want to portray. And I do think that everyone has something to offer someone, and he's intelligent in certain areas.
Yes.
So he can really help someone if they listen and they're compatible and,
Yeah.
with his direction.
Yeah.
But when it comes to personal relationships, that's a different story.
Would you label him? I mean, neither one of us are clinicians, but would you label him as a narcissist?
Oh, he has so many tendencies.
A lot of those
So many,
tendencies.
yes.
What's it like to live with a narcissist? Specifically, what is it like?
I was in a constant fight or flight. I couldn't sleep. I had insomnia. I had night terrors. I was on edge. The smallest thing. It's so funny. I even went to go get my nails done, and I was like, I don't like this color. And I flipped out over something so small.
Right.
And I'm like, that's not like me, but it's because I was always on edge.
Yeah. So your system literally was fight or flight. You attribute that to the relationship.
Yeah.
What's happening in the relationship that's causing you to be in fight or flight?
This is what people with narcissistic tendencies do. They will do something very grandiose and so great. So everybody can be like, wow, look at what a great person they are. Look at all that they're doing. But they will create an unrealistic expectation so that way it looks like you're not grateful for it. Like, for instance, he said he was helping me with my business, or he'll, put me online or whatever. But then at home create so much chaos and drama within me that I can't even function properly because I'm taking care of babies,
Right.
and then I'm, household things or
Right.
whatever. I can't even function. Or anytime I was working on a website or working on something, he just needed more time with me. He just wants to spend time with me. He just, I have to fulfill his needs or whatever. At that moment, I'm like, why right now? You can't let me work a little bit?
Right.
Like, he would just sabotage a lot of things. So I couldn't even function.
Right.
And still, it's still taking me some time to break a lot of those patterns.
Because you're trying to build the theta healing coaching business as well. This is happening while you're living with Wes.
Right.
And so you felt under duress, under stress,
Right.
And
then he'll turn around and be like, you're a loser, you're incapable, you can't even do simple
those
things.
words,
Yeah.
you're a loser.
You're this. And then recently I think he tries to break people's spirit all the time. He tries to break mine all the time. So the last time he got upset because of the podcast, and I did not say anything negative about him. I'm just stating he has these certain tendencies, and this is my experience, and I didn't use his name during the podcast.
Sure.
Out of
Yeah,
respect.
you were careful. Yeah.
But now I'm just like, you know what? I'm not attacking you. Like, you make your bed everywhere else and you lay in it, because if other people are talking about you online, that's fine. That has nothing to do with me. And if he wanted to make things right with me so that I can be lighthearted about him and towards him, then he had every opportunity to do that, but he didn't. So
you shared something with me, and you may not be comfortable sharing it here, and I totally understand if you're not, but you shared something with me about him reaching out and wanting you to do something specific to help him in exchange for helping you.
Yeah,
Are you comfortable discussing that?
Yeah, he wanted me to say something nice about him on this under the comments, and I'm like,
you mean under comments on a podcast?
Yeah, on this podcast.
On this podcast.
Yeah.
Okay. He wanted you to go in and say something positive about him. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, we've said a lot of positive about him today. I mean, the guy's a successful coach.
No, but he was like, what he's worried about, he thinks that I'm trying to ruin his business, and I'm not trying to ruin his business.
No.
There's so many people that benefited from whatever he's offering, which is great. If he resonates with you, go work with him.
Right.
But if he doesn't, then find someone else.
And
I'm
lots
just talking
do.
about my experience.
Yeah, and I think that's fair. You can be both people. Mm-hmm. You can be a narcissist and be very good at helping people in coaching and success and what they need to do to get their discipline organized and all that stuff. And obviously he's good at that. He's got a huge following and he's great at it.
Right.
But today we're talking about you and your experience at living with someone with narcissistic tendencies. We've got all sorts of people in every community who have, frankly, wives, it's usually women, captive to their tendencies. And I don't use that word lightly. Captive is what it is. And tell me how I don't want to put words in your mouth, so you tell me what it felt like to not be able to leave when you know it's unhealthy. Mm-hmm. I mean, break that down for us.
Oh, well, there was times where I literally had to escape, literally.
That's how it felt.
Yeah.
To you.
Literally.
That's the word that came to your mind. Yeah.
Yep. Those are the words. That's the best way to describe it.
Because of control.
It's the control part, yeah. And you know what? That's the thing. But I needed to learn those lessons. So it's not like pointing the finger. Really, if I'm pointing the finger, there's three right back at me. So why am I putting myself in that situation? Why am I creating that life experience?
Yeah.
Because my mom has those tendencies, and it's been a hard life with her. And that's why I love healing so much. There was somebody who asked me the other day, they were like, "Hey, Angie, what are your hobbies?" And I'm like, I love what I do. Yeah. I love theta healing. I love working out. I love eating right. And other things, like I enjoy them, but not as much as I do theta healing. Why? Because I lived such a dysfunctional childhood, and I've been around people who are so dysfunctional my whole life.
Right.
And I know the consequences of it because I look at my son who is in jail. I talk to him. And then now my brother facing a lot of time because of interacting with his narcissistic mother. And so for me, I have this fire in me. And I know that my son and my brother, they have these good hearts, good spirits, but they're suffering because of, the circumstances and the environment that they were raised in. Of course, it's part of their soul. And in order to grow and evolve, that's what their soul chose to go through. But if I can be here to use my voice to say, hey, look, that cycle can end. We just need to be able to work on that subconsciously. And that's really what my purpose is. And you know what? God bless Wes. Thank you for giving me the platform, the opportunity, and for being exactly who you are so that way I can work on that and show my experience.
Yeah. Because
there's people that are suffering and they don't need to. They don't have to. And that's why we're here.
Yeah. Well said. Well said.
Yeah.
If I'm a young mom or maybe just in a marriage with someone who's causing me emotional harm, and I feel like I'm married to a narcissist, give that lady some advice. Give her some guidance. What does it look like? How do you know you're in that? How do you get out of it? Give that lady some advice.
If you can't clearly communicate with the other person, there's just a sign of there's the first red flag. If you can't communicate, hey, this is bothering me, and the other person can't hear you, they can't be bothered, you have to seek outside help. That way you can navigate and understand how you're feeling inside so you can communicate that to the other person. And if that other person is not receptive and they can't hear anything else except for what they want or they take it personal, that's a red flag.
Okay. So let me unpack that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm in a relationship with you.
Mm-hmm.
You tell me, hey, listen, I don't feel heard. Mm-hmm. My feelings, there's some things that need to change around here.
Right.
And we need to discuss this at length.
Right.
And then I come back to you and I say, hey, listen, do you hear yourself right now? You sounded crazy right now. Mm-hmm. You know I'm busy. I've got like 14 coaching calls coming up here. Mm-hmm. Is this what you want to do right now? Mm-hmm. You want to mess up our entire empire here? Mm-hmm. So would that be an example of not only not hearing you, but basically explaining why I'm more important than you? Mm-hmm. Is that what it looks like?
Well, the thing is they take everything personal instead of understanding that somebody else has their wants, their needs, their desires, right?
That you're a person with needs right now that need to be heard and met.
Right.
Right. So the narcissist basically only knows their needs and wants and doesn't really have a lot of time for yours.
Right. But somebody who is emotionally intelligent, I can understand there's a lot of men that are driven. They have work and they have things to do, and sometimes women can nag or whatever.
Sure.
But being able to give somebody that present time to be like, hey, what are your needs, and to be able to listen to it and to problem solve and move forward, that will alleviate so much. There's no tension in the home and everyone could go about their business and doing what they have to do.
Right.
But it's when somebody is constantly invalidating you, but then saying, well, meet my needs. I need my needs met. I'm a man. I need you to do this. I need you to do that. But you didn't hear any of her wants, needs, or desires, mentally, emotionally, physically, or financially.
Do you think this is occurring because of a financial imbalance?
Oh, yeah. People with narcissistic tendencies, they will use the finances. And I found when I first left Wes, he took the gifts back. He took all those things, right?
All those personal gifts.
Yeah, personal gifts.
Yeah.
Clothes, shoes, jewelry, all that stuff. And they'll get you into financial hardships. But so this is one thing that I want to say to the women: you should always have a way to make money for yourself. Yeah. Always, because you don't want to be stuck in a relationship because you're dependent on somebody. And don't allow somebody to get you in a mix. AKA a car lease.
Right. That's a personal thing that you're going through now. So the financial imbalance is a big red flag.
Yeah, and to me, I think that if you're with somebody, and they have the drive, they have something that they want to do. Like for me, I'm really good at theta healing. Am I good at business? No, that's why I hired this man.
Right.
You would think that he would feel honored to be like, look, I'm going to show you and help you. I want you to be the best version of yourself in your business, and you have all the means to do it. Why couldn't you do that?
No strings attached.
No strings attached.
Yeah.
Or even if he really did care about my kids or whatever. He could have been like, look, regardless if things work out or not, I want you to be set for you and your kids so you can do what you love.
Right.
But that's not the case when it comes to these type of people.
And that showed up recently. If you'll leave some comments on the podcast in the comment section, I'll do what?
Yeah, I'll help you out. I'll
come to your rescue.
Yeah.
Again.
And I'm like, no, I'm good.
No, I'm good. That's got to be hard to do.
It is.
When you're really grinding. I mean, you're working hard.
Yeah.
You're trying to put ends together. I know. You're really working hard. And to have somebody show back up and say, hey, look, I can make this all go away. I just need you to do me a favor.
You just have to do what I say.
Right.
You just have to do what I say.
Right.
I'm the worst. I will not do anything out of obligation.
Right.
And I'm like,
you said that in the previous.
I will not do that, especially, and he reinforced that and really helped me to be that way. I will not do anything out of obligation. Either it comes from the heart or you don't get it at all.
Right.
And I could be good Angie and I could be bad Angie. Which one do you want? Because I know how to be both very good.
Right.
And I know that. That's why I like to be around people where I can be
support the good.
Good.
Yeah.
Because I like being good. I like to show love. I love to be nurturing. It feels good to be that way.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's your nature. I mean,
it's my nature.
Your nature is a sweet person. I mean, you're a kind person. And that's why I think you can easily be victimized by folks who are strong. They take on the sweet nature of you and begin to manipulate it slowly. Yeah. And then pretty soon you're in their grasp.
I wasn't always that way. I was a little feisty.
Okay, I can see a little sassy in there.
It comes out sometimes, but I feel like because I have, a little baby, and I didn't want to project. I didn't want to lose my temper or
the energy.
I'm going crazy over here with this relationship, but I had to suppress my emotions so that I could really be there for the baby,
right? And
not wrong target and take my frustration out on a baby,
right,
or kids or whatever. So I feel like I kind of I suppressed so much. That's why I'm doing so much healing work, and I'm really getting to the depth of that.
Does the fitness assist you in dealing with the healing?
Yes, of course. Let me tell you what was happening to me. So because I was suppressing what I'm feeling, I was losing my connection with my body, a mind-body connection, to where when I would eat with the kids, I would overeat. I wouldn't even realize my cues of I'm satiated, I'm good.
Yeah.
I would just keep eating until my stomach hurt. And I'm like, what am I doing? What's going on?
Yeah.
It was because I had such a disconnection from my body because I was disassociated.
Wow.
So a lot of times if you're overeating, it could be because you're disconnected from your body because of you're suppressing emotions. You're trying not to feel something.
Yeah.
So that was a big aha moment for me.
And that's recent. This is since you moved back to Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So
when did that dawn on you? In the 19th bite? I mean, when do you figure this out?
No, I would overeat. You feed the
kids.
The kids,
Yeah.
So every time I'd cook, I would overeat, and I didn't realize how much I was eating, and I would overeat till my stomach hurt. Not until when you're like, okay, you're full, you're satiated.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, why am I doing that? So I had to do the belief work, and then I was like, oh, I'm so disconnected from my body. This is why mindfulness practices are so important.
Yeah.
So you could feel what you're feeling.
You do a lot of work in the gym, a lot of work. Do you design your own workouts?
Yes, but sometimes if I go to the gym and I'm have my certain machines that I want to use and it's too busy, then I'll go back and I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to create my own little routine. Because I actually did my...
body weight exercises type thing?
Yeah. Body weight dumbbells. I did my teacher training to be a Pilates instructor right before I got pregnant.
Okay.
So I'm like, I just use what I learned there, create my own little routine.
And you do it every day?
As much, yes. There's times where if the kids get sick or we're sick,
a day off.
Take some time off. Yeah.
But you're 5 days a week working out.
Yes.
Would you say that if you're trying to escape a bad situation, and so many people are, how important is nutrition in this working out?
Oh my gosh. Well, go to the gym. They say if you're broke, go to the gym. If you're having problems, go to the gym. If you're in love, go to the gym. Everything, you go to the gym.
Agree.
So I
totally
love
agree.
that. But also, if, I don't know how long ago it was. Maybe 5, 6, maybe 7 years ago. I was vegan. Then I went raw vegan, and then I started to introduce different foods. When the kids want to eat junk food.
Yeah.
My thoughts were completely different, based off of what I ate.
Oh, interesting.
So I know how sensitive
What do you mean your thoughts? Break that down.
My thoughts. Like, let's say if I was eating very clean and eating like fresh fruits and vegetables and just live foods, my thoughts were clear. I felt like I had like a real
Clarity.
Yes.
Interesting.
When I would eat any like processed foods or cookies or anything, my whole mood and my demeanor changed, and I could
Like
tell.
a fog?
I'm paying attention to my thoughts.
Yeah.
And they're not as clear. They're not as optimistic. They change.
You could be quick to be moody.
Yes.
With processed food.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And that's probably applying to all of us. We're just not as in tune as you are.
Right.
Interesting.
Right. Because I pay attention to those things, and I'm very sensitive.
Yeah.
I'm so sensitive. It's so funny. Years ago, I was dating someone, and he's like, "You're a hypochondriac," and I'm like, "No, I'm not. I'm sensitive, and I can feel everything in my body, and I know it's happening for a reason. If something's happening in my body, it's because it's something that I'm suppressing, and I already know that." And he would go nuts.
Yeah,
he would go nuts with
yeah.
me. He's like, "Oh my gosh,
Right.
here we go again."
Right. But obviously you take tremendous care of yourself, and whatever that sensitivity is, we could all use more of it because that is the key to maybe surviving some of these terrible experiences.
Yeah. Well, the key is always to go back and to do the subconscious work. If you don't do the subconscious work, it's not lasting.
Break that down. Subconscious work.
So your subconscious work. So these programs and these beliefs that you created, when you don't go back to reprogram them, to find what you were meant to learn from that, so that way you can reprogram it, it'll show up in other areas of your life. And if it's not in an intimate relationship, it could be in business.
Yeah. And
this is the other thing, because I've met quite a few people who, they're already successful. They have their business.
Yeah.
Relationship issues are not really, their intimate relationships aren't that bad. But business relationships, let's say if somebody betrayed you in business.
Yeah.
That's going to leave some type of wounding. And of course, yes, there's a lot of men and they're like, "Oh, it's fine." They kind of take it on the chin.
Yeah.
But you want to be able to work on that so you don't create that, or you don't allow a fear to stop you from creating other opportunity with someone.
Right.
So you can have God's understanding of discernment and knowing who to work with.
Right.
That way you don't allow any, stay ready. Don't let
So
anybody.
are you saying this subconscious work, my self-talk may be bad? Is that what you're saying?
Mm-hmm.
That I may have developed some patterns and beliefs that are not true about me and my limitations.
Right.
And I may be, without knowing it, applying those to relationships, business opportunities, my relationship with God perhaps, and all of that may be occurring underneath the conscious level, subconscious.
Yes.
So how do I get to it? Like, how do I know my life isn't what I want it to be? Is that my first clue? Mm-hmm. That's the first clue. Yep. My life is not what I want it to be.
Yes.
And I'm constantly complaining about my life.
Yes.
So that would be a clue.
Yes.
All right. So that we just described 99% of the population.
Right.
Okay. So let's take it a step further. So if that's me, I'm complaining about my life. How about me blaming others? There's a lot of people to blame for my life the way it is.
If you're blaming, you're creating that. So why am I creating this reason?
Okay.
So if somebody's triggering you, work on yourself. If somebody's triggered by you, work on yourself. It's always an inside job because you're creating your reality.
It's an inside job. So you throw these things out very quick because they're just part of your programming. Mm-hmm. You've programmed yourself real tightly.
Right.
The audience benefits from these type of words.
Right.
So if I'm blaming everybody for my lack of great life, and I consider rich people lucky, and maybe all thieves, and I consider some they're just getting away with something that hadn't been figured out yet, right? I mean that's kind of a poverty mentality, right?
Right.
So all of that means I've got subconscious work to do.
Right. So if you see, this is why I love inner child healing, even to go back and to kind of reset your money mindset.
Yeah.
Because if you hear your parents talking about people with money.
Yeah. They stole it. And they haven't been caught yet.
They scam people. Oh, it's a scam. It's not worth it. Don't do it. They're just trying to get over on you and so on and so forth. You begin to believe those things.
Right.
And then you're looking out for that.
I take that into my home, and I raise my children to think like that. So now take me into this. I need to work on it. So how do I work on it?
So what I do is theta healing. For me, I love theta healing, but it's not so much of just. I think it's beautiful to change your life, right?
Yeah,
live the life that you want. Yeah. But ultimately, as you do theta healing, you learn how to grow your own unique connection with God.
Okay.
And you want to be, and when you love and respect God, you want to be more, emanate God energy and virtues for within yourself and
Right.
to others. That's why I love theta healing more specifically than just like, let's reprogram your subconscious mind just to get what you want. And it's just self-serving.
Yeah.
You
Think
know?
about accountability to a higher source.
Right.
Being responsible to a higher source, the
Right.
source of all light and good.
Right. And if everything comes from God, like one of the things that I do in theta healing is we teach you your subconscious mind how to discern the difference
Yeah.
between the creator of all that is and your mother and your father, who are also your creators. But you want to be
Right.
able to discern the difference, because you don't want to pray to God and think and pray to the same limitations that your parents have put onto you, right?
Yeah.
And then you want to be able to know that God's understanding of who God is. So
Right.
that way you know that there's infinite possibilities and everything's available to you, but you have to realize that within yourself.
Right.
So all that starts with your own subconscious mind.
What if I don't believe in God? What about that large chunk of the population that has no belief in a higher power? It's hard to imagine, but there's a group of people out there that don't believe in God.
Right.
Or are they doomed, or can they also do some of this self-healing?
Everyone is at their own level of mental, emotional, and spiritual development. So somebody is, and this is, I think I said this last time, but I respect all religions
Yeah.
and whatever practices you do, because it is helping your soul at whatever level you're at to be able to get to a closer connection to God. If it's taking you, even if somebody is going the opposite direction,
Yeah.
like I don't know, I'm Latin, so a lot of people have done like witchcraft and voodoo and all those crazy
Right,
things,
sure.
and I think people even go through that to find God too.
Yeah.
But they had to go through that in order to experience what isn't godlike, in order to really understand and respect what is godlike.
It's interesting. Some dealings in the darkness helps you understand the power of the light.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Kind of like ourselves, we have to understand our shadow side in order to
Yeah. Do you believe we all have a shadow side?
Yes, of course. Those
Yeah.
are all the repressed emotions that we've had in our childhood. And I don't believe that as everybody has something wrong.
Yeah.
Either the mom was too much in my business,
Yeah.
or not enough.
Right.
So there's always some type of something that's created, but that's because that's how we grow.
Yeah.
We have to grow and evolve through a little bit of challenge.
You know what I love about your guidance is it's about taking personal responsibility for where you find yourself.
Right.
It's really not about projecting blame on Wes Watson or my mother or so-and-so or my religion or anything. It's about me.
Right.
You called it an inside job.
Yes.
And I love that because it returns the power to me, which means I can fix it.
Yes.
As opposed to, well,
You're not bound and
I'm
powerless.
doomed. Right. I'm not powerless. Right. I
Right.
can solve it.
Those are all illusions,
That's right. Right.
self-created illusions.
Yeah, limiting beliefs that somehow I'm trapped in this. We Catledges, we go way back, many generations being trapped like this. It's just the way we are.
And
you know.
the other thing is, it's been scientifically proven that we carry beliefs are passed down through our genetics, right?
Right.
But also around the collective consciousness. So it's so funny. The other day I was, my dad just told me, he's like, "Hey, did you know that that your grandma's Portuguese too?" And I was like, "No, how am I going to know that? You didn't tell me. I'm 34 and you're just now telling me."
Right.
So, but I like to go back and do a lot of belief work on my ancestry, right?
Yeah.
So I was studying about the Spanish Inquisition,
Okay.
right? So that went on for about 300 years.
Yeah.
So that's when they wanted to make sure that they brought in Catholicism over everyone. And if you weren't practicing, then they would torture you, kill you, behead you, all the
Right.
right? And then people, so I could see that certain beliefs that I had can correlate to what was going on in that time. So I was able to
Interesting.
do the belief work just by learning more about the
History.
Spanish Inquisition. Yeah.
Interesting. And you can see how your own beliefs were tied to that heritage.
Yeah.
Wow.
And certain fears that come up, because back then, like if somebody was committing heresy,
Yeah.
right,
Right.
that would create fear. And I'm
Yeah.
like, wow, maybe that's a block for showing up or speaking your truth, because if
Right.
it's not safe to speak your truth, why? Because you'll be tortured, beheaded, and all the extra things, right?
Right. That may be in your DNA. Because obviously the people in that first generation, that was
Right.
real.
Right.
It was happening.
Right.
Yeah, that's good. So As we think about wrapping today's episode and we think about you, we can say clearly, Angie Catalano is free of a narcissistic relationship. There's no encumbrance, there's no entanglements. You are free of that. And you are now in a position to never be in that again.
Right. And
which is wonderful.
Even with family members, like I have a heartfelt gratitude for them, and I love them from afar.
Yeah.
And I forgive, right? Because you have to have the gratitude and the forgiveness for these people. Even if they want to project and say whatever they want, I don't care. Like, God bless you and thank you for being of service so that I could grow and evolve my levels of consciousness, because who I'm becoming because of this is going to be greater. And I'm really sorry for you, but you're not going to be able to experience who I'm becoming.
Right.
But thank you for helping me to get there.
Would you say it's dangerous, even if it's family?
Oh, if it's family, those are the first people that you want to be able to do the work to separate from.
Right. Yeah. Because what's interesting, you speak of limiting beliefs, we all feel like with family, we should just overlook these things, right? That we should just accept it. We should just have them at the dinner table. They should just be in our lives. But you know from personal experience, that is not true.
No. You don't want to desensitize yourself to any type of abuse in any which way, shape, or form. And if somebody can sit here and if you state your boundary and somebody takes it personal,
yeah,
stiff arm them.
They should be out of your life. They should not be in your life.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you've established a boundary and they absolutely are defensive about that, offended by your boundary.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Then you're in a relationship with someone dangerous.
So one of the things that I'm in the process of creating is an inner child membership program.
Okay.
Where I go through and I have like coaching modules so you can understand brain development as well and how certain beliefs are created. And then I do the subconscious healing.
Great.
That way, when people work with me, they get all of that work that they could do. And then when we work one-on-one, they can get deep. And it will be like a complete shift. Your life will change, because if it's like, I'm like, I want to take what I have in here and like just put it over there. So that's what I'm creating physically.
And I know you're working on some packages too. Do you want to outline those? And maybe you're not ready to do that yet, but I know you've got even some really well-priced packages, which I thought was great. To be able to work with you directly with all your experience and to be able to have that at a price people can afford, I think is amazing.
Yes. So this, the Inner Child Membership Program, it's at a low ticket. Because I know very well when you're going through a narcissistic relationship where your life's just not working, your finances most likely aren't working either in that area. So I wanted to keep it at a low ticket. But at each level, I have 3 different packages that I'm offering. At each level, you are going to have access to that membership program. But as each package goes up, you get more and more one-on-one contact with me.
Well, that's good. And you can only do so many, so people should be responsive to that. We'll make sure in the comments and in the description of today's podcast, we leave those details so they can find you.
Yes, of course.
Do we have a website yet?
I'm in the process of
We're building that
like
website.
Switching things around different.
Yeah, you had it at a different domain. We're moving it to a new domain, and it's going to be great. Do we have the name of that website that we could tell the audience, and that once it's done, they'll be able to go to it?
Well, you can find me on MBS Angie.
Perfect.
MBS_Angie on Instagram.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's where they can communicate with you.
Yes.
And you'll put that website once it's ready to roll.
Yes.
That's great.
In the process. It's been a long time coming. I've had so many, I feel like it was divine timing. It didn't work out 6 months ago, 3 months ago, because I think I had to learn like the final little things that I needed to. So everything's in divine timing.
Yeah. And you're in control of your life.
Yes.
Yeah, and you're in control of your business.
Yes.
Yeah, I love that. That's great. You're a brave person, Angie.
Thank you.
You're really, really courageous. It's hard to come on a public podcast and discuss these very intimate, personal things, but I'll tell you, I don't know that the audience is going to ever know this stuff. They're just suffering privately and don't have anybody to talk to about it.
Yeah, that's the thing that really, I know what it feels like to suffer in silence.
Yeah.
And you know what the thing was? I didn't have anybody that I didn't know who to go to.
Yeah.
And this is why I love to teach theta healing as well, because when you learn how to connect up to God, you go to God for everything first.
Yeah.
And it was beautiful. I was watching this woman, she recites poems, and it was so beautiful because she was like, telling her the love of her life. She's like, I hope you don't mind that I hope you don't mind that I go to God before I go to you. And I was like, that's actually so beautiful. And for, you know, 'cause
Yeah,
I
it's
want to go to
great.
God before I go to you so that I know how to communicate with you and love
Yeah.
you the right way, or to communicate with you.
Yeah.
And God will give you that grace and that power that you need to be able to support you. Because if you've never known what it feels like to be supported,
Yeah.
God's supporting you. You just have to be able to feel it and know how to be receptive to that.
That's great. So I want to know, listen, you said it. We all have this shadow side of us, right? We all have this good side, and we hope the good's bigger than the shadow, right? I want to know, take me in the house. I'm living in the house in Miami. We're on the waterfront. We're living a dream life. We're running around in fancy cars. We're going to special places. I got nice clothes in my closet. Tell me, oh, that sounds perfect, right? It just sounds perfect. But living with a narcissist is not perfect. I want you to tell me where the imperfection is, because everything else that I just described is the life women are dreaming of. So tell me, sitting on the couch in the home of a narcissist, what that's like, what happens in that home on that couch that makes it unhealthy.
Well, it's kind of like the frog in the water. You don't realize it until you're already exploding, right? But for me, there would be this is what would get me. He would create so much discord during the day of, you're not doing enough, I need this, I need that, you're incapable, you can't do this, just a whole bunch of bashing all day long.
You mean personal attacks against
personal
your
attacks.
Capacity and your character? And
Yes, all day long.
okay.
And then I would sleep in a separate room because he snores really loud and I have the baby. And so he'll text.
Is that the only reason?
Yeah. 'Cause he
snores too loud and you have the baby?
Yeah, he'll wake up the baby.
Okay, all right.
Snores.
All right.
What would just drive me crazy was that he would create so much discord during the day, and I'm in the room putting the baby to sleep, and then he writes this beautiful, heartfelt message about how much he loves me and how all these great things about the girls and I and all these things and whatever. And it was so beautiful to read it, but it didn't feel real at all in any which way.
Note?
No,
Tell
like
me.
on Instagram. It's not
He's doing this for the world.
Yeah, for the world.
Oh.
But in real life, he created so much discord, and I'm like, that is not.
Oh, I thought he slid a note under your door in the other bedroom. That's what I was envisioning.
No, if it was in real life,
right,
if he wrote me a letter and he slid it in, I'd be like,
was
oh,
thinking.
it's real.
That's
but
what I was
because it's
thinking.
online, I'm like, that's
So
the
he's
same person.
presenting an image.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't believe that he, the way that he made it seem like he cared so much, I don't think he cared like that.
Got it.
It was more for an image.
All right.
Because I was like, I'm reading this and I was like, wow, this is so beautiful and so heartfelt. But I was like, that's not the same person.
That's not the guy in the other bedroom.
Yeah.
Right. This is not the man I'm living with.
Yeah, that's not what you said earlier. You said all these other things about me.
Right. Are you comfortable saying the other things he said about you?
I don't even remember. Like, you name it. He said so many things.
But you blocked them out.
But the other thing is, too, I'm not going to sit and be like, oh, I'm the victim.
I know.
I will, excuse my language, motherfucker him and make him feel this little, too.
All right, you can defend yourself.
We would go in, like, wars sometimes. So,
you could defend yourself.
So, yes, I did scream and yell. This is why I don't want to be around someone like that, because that's not who I'm trying to be in front of my children either.
Yeah.
But these people will provoke you until you snap.
Yeah.
So his mom likes to throw her little negativity comments, which I helped her to fix her relationship with her son. She should be very grateful for that and leave me alone.
You talking about Wes's mother's involved in this?
Yeah. She'll say so much nonsense, but she should just be grateful that I helped mend her relationship with her son. And
how about that?
Let me go. Leave me alone.
That's wonderful.
Keep your comments
You
to
actually
yourself.
did some communicating behind the scenes with the two of them to bring them back together.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah.
That probably took a minute.
Yeah, it did. And then it gets flipped around, and you only used. Then she thinks I used her because when their relationship got better, Wes would kind of talk to her about things about me and then use it against me.
Sure.
So whatever they were communicating with about me would create discord. So I was like, out of respect for everything, I need to distance my relationship with you because we're fighting too much over little things that were said.
Yeah.
And now it's going to put a wedge. But she couldn't. I think she took it as rejection.
You think his mom would stir him up, and that would like she shouldn't say that?
I don't think that she would stir things up. I think that he would take what she says and then
strengthen his position.
Yeah, strengthen his position and then create discord over here. So it's like it was just a conflict to be able to be that close. And you guys keep your relationship and build that bond. And
yeah.
she took it as I used her or something because I didn't want to. No.
Well, we all know in a personal relationship between man and woman, whenever moms or dads get involved, it's not good.
Yeah.
Other than supportive. I mean, they should be totally supportive.
Right.
And bite their tongue on anything that's not supportive.
Right, right.
That's the only way it can work.
Right. And you know what I don't like? I just think it's so distasteful when somebody doesn't get their way to just completely bash someone.
Totally.
Or make things up. I'm like, you know what? If it's just not, if there's no match, go the other way.
Yeah.
Go with people who celebrate you and honor you, and just let it go. I'm not sitting here bashing anyone.
And
just
making things up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't get a rise out of somebody, and then, because to me, I'm like, it drives me crazy. Even online, I like, for myself, this is what's so beautiful about theta healing as well, is that you don't want to have resentment for anyone, and why would you do that to your own being, to have so much negative energy charge projected out towards someone?
That's right.
And at first, don't get me wrong, I was upset because I was upset at Wes the last time. I was like, he's trying to kind of like bait and hook me and just negative stuff. And then the mom talking smack and trying to call my phones and blow my phone up. I don't even have time for it. But I was projecting out, how can these people behave this way? Like, what is wrong with them? But whatever energy I was projecting out to them wasn't a heartfelt gratitude or forgiveness.
Right.
Because I forgive them for what they don't know. And you know what? God bless you and thank you, because you're showing me exactly what I'm leaving behind.
Right.
And who I'm becoming. They will never even have a chance to even touch it.
Yeah, that's right.
So God bless you.
The clarity comes in the breakup. The monster comes out in the breakup. Or I've always just had a personal philosophy. When you break up with someone, leave them feeling like they just let go of the greatest thing that ever happened to them.
Yeah.
And the only way to leave them feeling that way is by total class. Total class.
Yeah.
And how are you doing? Just checking in. Want to make sure you're good. I've thought about you. I hope you're doing great. I'm rooting for you.
I don't need any contact.
No, I know.
You can't have any contact. So I actually studied a lot of Scientology. I want to share this really quick.
Yes, please.
Because I'm a student. I love to learn about everything, right? So I took a few classes, and they identify like narcissistic people as a suppressive person.
Okay.
And anybody who is connected with them is a potential trouble source. So you will have some things just not working out in your life, even if you keep an open line of communication with them.
Wow.
And I've experienced that to be very true.
Wow. So just even if it's healthy, if there's
even
an open line
if it's quote unquote healthy,
there's an opportunity for damage.
Because what happens is they encroach in your life very slowly.
Yeah.
Just like the frog being warmed up in a pot of water.
Slowly, and then the frog's dead. You had no idea the water was even getting hot.
Right.
Yeah.
So no communication.
You got to shut it off.
Yep.
Yeah.
And even with family members.
That's a hard one, and I'm glad you keep saying it, because that's the one that I think people continue to allow to cause them damage.
Oh, that's what
family.
I allowed my mom to cause so much damage in my life.
Yeah.
Up until recently, but now I'm like, nope.
So the rule for you, and probably should be for all of us, if this is unhealthy, I don't care who it is.
Right.
They could be my minister at the church.
Right.
If it is unhealthy, they need to be extracted from your life.
Right.
Period.
Especially when you are raising children.
Yeah. You've got others to account for.
Right.
Yeah.
This is the thing. I'm here raising my children.
Yeah.
And I'm still uncovering all my stuff so that I, can raise, well-rounded children who are emotionally stable.
Yeah.
So why would I desensitize them to somebody who can't even control their emotions?
Right.
Or,
have exposure there.
Why would I do that to them?
No, you can't.
So I'm very protective over that.
You're balancing it well. I mean, you've shared with me a little bit about how great your daughters are and how resilient they are with all this going on. And how really your older one is so organized, so mature, so with it, so together. And a lot of that's probably come from the refining fire that you've been through as the three of you.
Yeah, three of us. Yeah. My life is beautiful.
Yeah.
I have a beautiful little family, and I have to share this really quickly.
Yes.
There was this song the other day, and it was a song, a man singing about his mother and how she would always protect him through the good, the bad. And he was like, I promise you I'll make my dreams come true because you always fought for me. And I was like, this is such a beautiful song.
Yeah.
And I kept playing it over and over and over again. And I didn't realize it was the little girl in me dedicating the song to who I am now. And I got the goosebumps when I started crying.
Wow.
It was so beautiful. So I listen to that
great.
song all the time when I'm reminded, when I have to remind myself to be strong for my girls no matter what challenges come.
Yeah.
Chin up, head up, and keep going.
Yeah. Good advice.
Yeah.
Good advice. Thank you, Angie.
Yes, of course.
Great to see you.